Hi everybody, Carol here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be making my version of a treat box, a Hershey's Nugget Treat Box. And this is what it looks like. I'm using the Panda stamp from Simon Says Stamp and going to put my own twist on it because I've seen others that I like a lot. They gave me the idea in the first place, but I want to make it a little easier for myself. Now we start with these Hershey Nuggets. And these are the measurements. I'll have them up again later so that you can see them better. But you start with a long strip of paper that's 1 3/4 inches. Score at the 3/4 inch line. Then go back and score at the 1 1/4 inch line, 2 1/4 inch, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, and then a little one 5/8 and an inch. And that leaves another little one 5/8, and it shows you the measurements. That's 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch. I kind of like to know those things, how wide they actually are. So I've made those measurements. Now I'm mashing them down with my wooden bone folder and creasing those lines. I've made this out of cardstock, by the way, and it will all fold up in a minute, and you will see how slick it works. Now you need to cut off from the end, that's the 5/8 inch end, the last 3 boxes. 5/8 inch, 1 inch, and 5/8 inch. And you can just use your scissors or the trimmer, whatever you'd rather use. And because they are not needed. They are going to fold up into a box of their own. Now you also need to cut some little wedges for these. These are the bottom flaps of the box. And for some reason I didn't show going back and cutting that middle one. I skipped over it, but I did cut it. You'll see in a minute. And then you need a little bit of glue on that first box, which is 1 1/4 inch wide, but just a little bit. Now you can cover the last one, which is 5/8 inch, if you want to. But this is how it starts to roll up. And I've switched to another color now. I'll make several of these. Those end pieces fold up. That little 5/8 inch piece on the end folds into and attaches to the wall of the rest of it to make a little box there, a little rectangle. And that is what the nugget is going to slip into, one of them. Now the rest of the piece sticking out also folds, and you can kind of see how this is going to come together. You put glue on that last piece, which I said, and I drew on that picture a little globs of glue to give you the idea where the glue goes. And it will come down to that other 5/8 inch piece. Hold it together, and that makes a second compartment for the little nugget. If you want to, you could use a paper clip to hold that in place while it dries. Mine was already dry before I started because I used the Tombow glue, and there's another place where I put glue for the bottom flap, and then I use the 2 smaller flaps last, simply because that's kind of the front of the box there. If you want to use that front flap, you can. I don't think it really matters. It kind of keeps it smooth. But so then, in order to really get that down good, I just took one of my colored pencils and rubbed down in there really well. Now here's where my idea came in, is I made a separate strip. Let's see, let me get the measurements on that. It's 2 1/4 by 1 inch wide, and ran it through a die cut machine. And cut, that was a Spellbinder little round circle die, and it just fits in there so nicely. I mean, you can glue it if you want to, but I haven't even had to. They fit so snugly. And then here comes the other little box, another little box, a green one, and I had cut out a yellow piece the same way. I had a stamp for a little photo corner, stamped it on white paper, cut it out. Just your imagination can just go wild with how you want to decorate these things. I used bright colors, and the printed paper from that came in that August kit. And so I thought they're well coordinated, why not use them? And so I'm wrapping that piece around there. Again, the width and length of that piece is on the instruction sheet, or so to speak, the measurement sheet. If you wanted to round off those corners, you could do it freehand. If you had a corner punch that fit, you could do that. And then I'm coloring some of these images I stamped off. I'll finish cutting him out, put a little glue on him, set him aside. He already has glue, but I was showing you what I had done, and stuck him up in the corner of that. The little loop kind of makes a finger hole, just makes it a little easier to cut out. Now I've got a bunch of this ribbon. I cut 12-inch strips, stick them through the hole, tie them a couple of times, and then you know the old trick about just using your scissors and curling that kind of ribbon. And then I took a piece of yellow also, did the same thing. We'll tie it off. And now I'm putting some glue on that handle where I glued the panda. He didn't really stick at that particular place, so I just thought I'd just put the glue on the handle. That's what I'm calling that, a handle. Now to wrap the nuggets, this piece again is on the sheet, but it's 1 by 3. And I curl it with my hands to shape it, make it easier to shape around that candy. Just a little bit of glue where the paper overlaps. And that is done. So now I'm going to assemble it, put the little panda head on there, put the covered nugget in the front, and I'll have one for the back also. I'll do the green one, bringing in those pieces. Instead of doing a strip that wraps around the box, I'm cut out 4 little panel pieces, and they're all either 1 by 1 or 1 by 1 1/4, and then of course cut them a little bit smaller so there's a frame around them from the colored box. And if you do this assembly style, it goes rather fast. You just it makes it faster to remember when you're doing all the measurements over and over again at one time, because I made several of these. Now these are some of the images that I stamped off, and I'm just showing briefly some of the coloring I'd already done, and cut them out and put glue on them and some Jelly Roll pen white ink on those balloons where they're highlighted. And then I colored one more little party hat for the panda and put some glue on it. So here I'm going to start putting this together. I'll put in the balloons, and I highlighted those two even though they were cut out of colored cardstock, added a little shading. So then when you start putting the nuggets in on both sides, it's nice and full. And put his little hat on now so that he can party. And of course you don't have to do that, but it just adds dimension and makes him even look that much bigger. And a table full of these I think would be so cute, maybe at each place or just in the center. But that's what they look like. Very colorful, so many ways. I intend to make some more of these with different colors, different stamp sets. And for no reason, this is what it looks like from the top. I just started putting them down. I did want to show one more thing I made, and that is that right there. It's kind of like a little banner. I did the fishtail cut on it out of some of the same paper and just stuck it in, just again to add dimension and interest. And I think that's cute too. So there they are. I just put them down on some little packaging paper there, gift wrap type thing, and spread them out for you to see. And then I'll have some still shots. So I hope you enjoyed and will give this a try. They really are worth the effort. And thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I appreciate any subscriptions and thumbs up. And I will have some videos at the end you might like to see. But thanks for joining me, and have a great day. Bye-bye.